it is most of these companies are, um, you know, are in the West. Not much companies are from India. Not much innovative companies are from India. In fact, we have Byju's. That is one of the unicorn startups that India has built. But again, most of the companies, most of the innovative companies, in fact, are from the West. Why is that? I mean, so while we delve down the reason, it's because we Indians aren't placing innovation as a priority while building companies, right? Whereas the Western companies prioritize innovation rather than everything else. So what do I mean? Why do Indians not do that? It's basically because most Indian entrepreneurs and businessmen, they focus on traditional business approaches, right? Traditional business practices. And in this fast evolving world, traditional business practices can't survive, right? It can't grow beyond a certain level. So that's why the Western companies are more successful and are more innovative than Indian companies. So that is one of the sole reasons that we started Big Bang Innovation Garage. We wanted to instill a sense of awareness on the importance of innovation in the mindset of entrepreneurs and the Indian companies alike. So basically, there's this company called IDEO. I guess if you have heard about it, this is the most, this is like, they are like the pioneers of design thinking, right? It was started by David Kelly, a professor from Stanford. So we wanted to be, I mean, I know it's a bit higher aspiration, but we are trying to get there. We want to be the IDEO of India, right? We want to, we want to instill the sense of design thinking into the entrepreneurial environment in India, right? So that's one of the major reasons that we started Big Bang Innovation Garage. So, and apart from that, you guys are going to be working after you finish the MBA. You guys are going to be working in one of the in most innovative companies, right? I mean, you guys are going to be working in Google. You guys are going to be working in Apple, and like the big companies. So when you're working over there, or in fact, if you want to start a business, I'm all up for it. I mean, like, just go ahead and start a business. So if you want to start a business, obviously it should be innovative. So wherever you go, wherever you end up after MBA, in a job, in a innovative company, or starting your own venture, people are going to be talking about innovation. And when the word innovation pops up, the word design thinking always pops up, because design thinking has been there in the industry for the past 25 years, and it is not going anywhere in the near future, at least for the next 10 to 15 years, or even 20 years at the max, right? So it is very important for you guys to understand what is design thinking, and to get a basic idea of design thinking, right? So that's where I come into play, and I try to explain you the basic concepts of design thinking in this session. I hope you will get a rather overview of what design thinking is. And at the end of the session, we'll be having a question session where you can just ask me questions, and I'll try to answer. And if I'm not able to answer, I'll definitely try to get in contact with the right answer, right? So let's move on to the session. Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
It's visible.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, hey, so that was supposed to be the initial slide. So let's move on to the basic question of today. What is design thinking? So I want two answers from the students, not from the faculty. I want two answers from the students. You can choose to unmute your mic and start speaking. I want two answers, just like that. Top. Come on, guys. Hello? Is anyone answering?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Design thinking is all about some making ideas of any concept.
Okay.
What thinking is innovative.
And one disclaimer.
Sorry.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I mean, one disclaimer I want to say here is that design thinking is all about innovation, right? And in innovation, there is no right and wrong. Okay, there is no right and wrong whatsoever. Even, I mean, we will come to that later, right? And so just be open with your answers, because what your answers, it might be a very good insight for me. So I want you to open up and just, come up with your answers. I mean, it doesn't have to be textbook defined. Nothing is textbook defined in innovation. If innovation is textbook defined, then there is no innovation at all, right? So I mean, just come up with your answers. I mean, I just want 2 answers from you quickly. I got one. Another one I would want right now. So one more.
I can get that point in a proper manner, but design is innovation, about innovation and creativeness. Creativity, we must have creativity to do the designs. That's my point.
Great. Amazing. Obviously, I mean, you have to be creative in order to come up with good designs, and that's nice, Shriram, right? Yeah, that's nice, Shriram.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more, quickly. Come on, we're running out of time. Okay, sure. I'll take. Yeah. So design thinking, I mean, there are many definitions of design thinking, right? If you go to Google and type what is design thinking, you might come across different definitions of design thinking. So that's the beauty of design thinking. There is no particular definition of design thinking. So I would like to share my perspective of what design thinking is, right? So according to me, design thinking is a philosophy combined with a set of tools which will give you the ability to solve problems creatively, right? So design thinking is like an overview of a particular process. There is no right and wrong while getting into the framework of design thinking. So in order to achieve that design thinking process successfully, there are a set of tools which we will be discussing, not in detail. I'll be introducing you to one tool per process, one tool per step. Then there are a lot of tools like that. So design thinking is basically a philosophy combined with a set of tools which will give you the ability to solve problems creatively, right? So you might ask, there are a lot of number of problem solving techniques, and many companies and many teams, in fact, are using a lot of problem solving techniques to come up with innovative solutions, right? So you might ask, why design thinking? So design thinking especially looks at problems using a human-centered design lens, right? So what does this human-centered design mean? So basically, if you see any problem-solving technique in the world, it usually takes into consideration the available resources. I mean, takes into consideration the available resources and tries to solve the problem using those resources. But design thinking especially, it focuses on the user, not on the resources. Resources is secondary, right? It focuses on the user and tries to build a solution around the problem of the user, right? So that is the core point of design thinking in my perspective and everywhere else, right? It's a very user-intuitive process of problem solving. So basically what you do over here is that you empathize with the user, you start understanding their problem much better and try to come up with a solution around that particular problem, right? So, and this has been proven to be very, very successful and very effective, because if you see any problem in the world actually has humans around it. So if you start solving problems around humans, you ultimately solve the bigger problem. So this is why design thinking is such a powerful and such an effective problem solving technique, right? So moving on from that, design thinking is a 5-step process. Again, I want to reiterate here that design thinking, this 5-step process is just an overview, right? There is no particular one way of solving problems. If there were one way of solving problems, that's it. There would be no innovation, as I said before, right? There is no textbook formula of solving problems. It is up to the user, it's up to the design thinker, and it's up to the people who are involved in that particular process, right? So, but basically, these 5 steps is a structured approach to help you think creatively and to help you solve, to come up with a problem statement in the beginning and try to test that problem, solution to that problem statement and see if it is successful or not, right? So again, if you have read about design thinking, you would have definitely come across something called design sprints, right? So design thinking is a philosophy, as I said before, and design sprint is the actual tool that you use to come up with innovative solutions. Design thinking is an overview, and it has no particular order whatsoever, right? But design sprint has a specific process you need to follow in order to come up with a successful solution, right? So what we'll do here is that I'll be covering only design thinking in this session, okay? So basically, it's a 5-step process, starting with empathizing with the user and defining a problem statement which you have conceived after empathizing with the user. Then you start ideating around the problem statement and coming up with different solutions. And you with that solution which you have got from ideate, you try to prototype it into a minimum viable product. We'll be discussing what is that later. And once you develop that prototype, you test it out. You test it out with the real users, which you have got from the empathization, right? So this is the complete overview of the product, of the process of design thinking. So I would be explaining each and every step process. So at the end of the process, I'll be sharing. I'll be sharing 2 case studies where design thinking can be a very a technical one as well as a very simple one, which can give you a sense of how design thinking can be very easy as well as a very technical insight, right? So let's move on to the first step. So empathize. So what do we mean by empathize? The word empathize itself means understanding, right? You understand your partner, you understand the people around you, empathize, right? So in design thinking, we empathize with the user. We empathize who we are solving the problem for, right? In order to come to that, we need to ask certain questions, okay? So the first question obviously would be, who am I making this for? So we need to identify who the user is. Only then we can identify the problems, right? Because if you want to solve a problem of a sports person, obviously you can't go to an elderly senior citizen and ask, what is the problem that you're facing in sports? Because most senior citizens won't be physically that strong, and it's completely different user, right? So you need to identify the user initially, right? You need to identify who the problem you're solving, whose problem you're solving for, right? And the next question would be, what is their problem? Obviously, if you want to solve a problem, you need to know what the problem is. But and in order to come to that, you need to ask what do these people do? Because a problem often arises when people start to do something and are not able to achieve the ultimate goal, right? So in order to achieve the ultimate goal, they need to come up with a solution, and that solution is often the answer to the problem, right? So we need to understand what they're doing to face that problem, so that we know where the problem lies and we can focus on that and try to create a solution around it. Okay. So yeah. So these are the main questions that you are supposed to ask while empathizing with the user, and these questions would be more effective if they are done in person rather than questionnaires or handing out surveys and all those things. That is important, but while empathizing, it is always good to see the person in front of you and get their inputs as well. In a nutshell, especially, what empathize is putting yourself in another person's shoes, so that you get the superpower to create a more meaningful product. So I guess you would have heard about the phrase, you should put yourself in one's shoes to understand their problems. Well, that's what we're doing right here, right? So once we put ourselves into another person's shoes, it is we tend to see the world from their perspective, and that is a very important superpower in my perspective. Because apart from design thinking, right? Let's go off topic for a bit right now. So if you are dealing with a relationship, or let's say, I mean, let's say that your girlfriend is pissed at you or your boyfriend is pissed at you, right? You should understand. You should be in their perspective and look at the problem. Is it really my fault, or is it something else? And then think about a solution to that. Design thinking uses human emotions to come up with solutions, right? So any relationship, or any problem that you face across, right? I mean, if the lecturer scolds you, or scolds you for coming late, understand their perspective. Because if a lecturer is scolding you late, I mean, scolding you for coming late to class, obviously her class or his class is getting interrupted. So you should understand from their perspective and take the scoldings. I mean, yeah, that's what empathize is actually. I'm going off topic. Cool. So yeah, in a nutshell, you should put yourself in the user's shoes and try to understand their problem, their perspective of the problem, so that you know what they're facing, and you can continue the design thinking process, right? So yeah. So how to empathize? I mean, I've explained pretty much before itself. So the two main processes in order to do a successful empathize session are observing and engaging, right? Observing, in my perspective, MBA students should master the skill of observation, right? Because observation can help you identify a lot of problems, which are in fact opportunities for you guys to solve, right? A lot of things going on around you, and taking them into your benefit, and trying to come up with something that would definitely change the world, or something like that. So in fact, one of my mentors, I would share a short story with you. One of my mentors, what he used to do was, he used to say that like humans are the most informative creatures on earth. I mean, not informative, I would say most interesting creatures on earth. So what he used to do was, he used to go to the airport and just sit there. If he has a flight at around 10 o'clock in the morning, he would go at around 7 o'clock and just sit in the waiting lounge. You know why? Because he says that when you sit at this waiting lounge and observe the people that are going on, walking around you, or sitting around you, you tend to observe many things that you don't know about humans. Because we might say that, I mean, like, to give a very simple example, all of us are wearing backpacks, like on the back, right? So some person might have found an innovative way to make the same backpack more interesting as possible. I mean, it's just a random example I'm giving you here. So I'm telling, why I'm telling this is that while you observe humans, you tend to observe their behavior and try to come up with new ideas to to make the human life more easier. So it's very important for MBA students especially to observe, because I mean, one of my mentors told that for the computer science student or something, the lab is the computer science lab, and for a chemistry student, the lab is the chemistry lab, or a physics student's physics lab. But for the business student, the whole world is a lab. So it's important for you to observe the different things that are going on around you in order to get different perspectives, right? So that is what observe is. And engage is the second step of observe, in fact. So if you start observing, you might see something going on. And with your experience and with your exposure, you might start to assume things. This is why they are doing that. But in fact, in most cases, it's not that. That person might be doing that particular thing or that particular action for something else, but you might assume it for something else. So it is very important to engage with that particular user to know why they are doing that, and in order what they are trying to achieve out of doing that. So it's very important to engage with the user to have a very deep and in-depth understanding of what they are going through, right? So this is an overview of how to, and a very crisp brief of what empathize is actually. Okay. So yeah, I want two answers from you again. I mean, I would stick on to one right now. What do you guys think this is? Come on, guys, be quick. I mean, it's a very informal session. I don't want it to be formal. Come on. Just shoot out your answers. What do you feel like?
Yes, students, you all can unmute and speak. We'll have an interactive session. We can have a lot of discussions with him.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Was I audible?
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah.
No. I just wanted to ask students to volunteer. Please kindly unmute and speak. We'll make it an interactive session.
Yeah. Come on, guys, 2 answers, please. I said before, there's no right and wrong. So come on. Yeah. Sriram again. Go ahead.
Sir, is it baby covering somewhat?
Okay, you're
some,
doing what? What is the
sorry, child.
Go ahead. Oh, okay, like a backpack for babies, for carrying babies.
Yeah.
Okay, you're near to the answer, but it's unfortunate it's not a backpack. Yeah. Anyone wants to build out an answer? Anyone other than Sriram?
Any covering pot at the time of a storm or rain or anything?
Okay, cool. So yeah, it's a very nice. That can be used. Yeah, in fact, this can be used for that also. Nice thinking, Sriram. Good.
Thank you.
So yeah.
And the chat box from Surya. He says get that.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, that's something new for me. Cool. In fact, it's something related to what Sriram has told. It in fact is Embrace incubator, right? You guys have heard of incubators, right, in hospitals? Okay. So so why this product, especially when incubators are available? So what happened was before a few years, there was a problem, and there is still a problem of infants dying soon after they're born, right? So a few years back, the number of infants dying was at an alarming rate. It was so huge, right? So this problem was stuck in the minds of designers at Stanford D School. So Stanford D School is like the birthplace of design thinking, right? So most of the cases which I am talking about over here would have originated from there. So what they did was this problem stuck their mind. So they sent one of their designers, one of the design thinkers to Nepal, in fact, to identify what's going on and why infants are dying so much right after they're born. So once he came to Nepal, he found out that all the hospitals, most of the incubators in hospitals are empty. And when he went on to ask why was it empty, he came up with the answer that most people living in that area are far away from the hospitals, right? They are in the rural regions, and they are not able to afford incubating their babies. Two, they're very far away from the hospitals, and by the time the birth is taking place, they can't get the babies into the incubators in time. So he found out that this is a problem statement. So he came up with a solution saying that why don't we create incubators which are portable, which are mobile, which don't need a big infrastructure, instead a handheld device. So hence the product Embrace Incubator, right? So this is a product, usually one incubator costs around $25,000, okay? This incubator just costs around $25. So how huge is that, right? This product has single-handedly changed the lives of millions of kids, millions of parents, in fact, right? So design thinking plays a huge role in the life of humans, and the powers it possesses are, it's just close to infinity. So this is a perfect example of empathizing with the user. The designer from the Stanford School came to Nepal, and he started interacting with the user to understand their problems. Only when he did that, he understood that the problem lies. Let's move on to the second process of design thinking, which is define. So what you did in empathize, you captured information from the users. You gather information, everything. And what you're doing in define is that you're using the information which you gathered in the first step, and you synthesize it into insights. Right? What do I mean by insights? Insights are basically the challenges that they face, and what can we think about. I mean, what can we get from the challenges that they face? So to put it in a single sentence, the defined step in the process of design thinking helps us to come up with a single problem statement, right? A single problem statement which will help define the coming three processes of the coming three steps of the design thinking process. Okay, so this single problem statement will be like the head. I mean, like the point where we should place all our solutions around. Okay, so yeah, so one of the most popular and most frequently used tools to come up with that problem statement is 5 whys. 5 whys, right? So I guess you would have heard about it. It's a very simple tool. It requires nothing big. It's just asking questions again. Okay. So 5 whys, as the name suggests, is asking why 5 times. So you have a single problem statement. So the problem statement is the one which you have got from the empathize session, right? You come up with a general problem statement, right? I mean, as you've seen from the example before, infants are dying at an alarming rate in rural regions, right? So that is a general problem statement. So that will be the problem, and you ask why 5 times. Then you come to the root cause. So that's how he was able to come to the root cause of basic mobility, right? So interestingly, this 5 whys tool often gives you answers which you have not even thought of, right? Which don't come to your mind as soon as a problem hits you, as soon as a general problem is there in your mind. So I would give you a very fun example and very interesting example of how a king lost his kingdom due to something very small. Okay, so yeah, so this is an example. I would like to you guys to go through it. So the problem is they lost the kingdom. So the king was asking, why did we lose the kingdom? The soldier was like, because we lost the battle. Then the king was like, why did we lose the battle? Then the soldier was like, because we had one warrior less. And the king asked, why did we have one warrior less? Then the soldier replied, we had one horse left. Why do we have one horse left? The soldier replied, because the horse didn't have a horseshoe. Why didn't the horse have a horseshoe? Because there was not enough nails. In order to put the horseshoe through the legs of the horse, you need nails. So basically, what this example tells you is that a kingdom is being lost because of a very peculiar reason, because there was not enough nails. It's funny, in fact, where the losing a kingdom suddenly when you say, why did you lose the kingdom? Usually the answers which come to your mind is the king was not that efficient, or the king was not that knowledgeable, right? So, but the real reason would lie somewhere else, which never even comes to your mind. So that is the power of asking why 5 times or even 6 times, in fact, but it should be restricted. So in fact, to come up with a very root cause, which is often away from all your assumptions, right? So I hope you get a perspective of how important this 5 whys is. So we'll move on to the next step in the design thinking process, which is ideate, right? According to me, this is the most fun part of design thinking process. It is the most, interesting part, where we come up with different ideas, and we're trying to solve the problem which we are put together in the define stage, right? So ideate, in a nutshell, is combining the insights which you have got from the empathize session and the define session to come up with ideas and solutions. Obviously, if you want to come up with a solution, you need a proper problem statement, which we have got in the define section. And we need to get the information around that problem statement also, which we have got from the empathize session. So ideate is a culmination of both these steps, right? So while we are doing that, we tend to come up with ideas around that particular problem statement and solutions in order to solve the problem statement, right? So how to ideate? basically, like ideation sessions and brainstorming sessions are to be. Um, I would say that like I mean, when one person thinks, it's one perspective, and when another person thinks, it is another perspective. But when those two people come together and think together, there's often a third perspective involved, which is which is most which is the most effective perspective in my opinion, right? Because when a person uses thinks about a particular solution or something, he uses his exposure or his experience, and when another person thinks about that, he uses his experience, right? So when these two people come together, they share their experiences and try to come up with a solution using both their experiences, which is often the most effective one. So that is why it is very important to get as many, I mean, not as many, more number of people in session, because the more the experience of different people really matters, and it's often important that all the perspectives are counted and all the experiences are counted to come up with a very good ideas, in fact, right? So the second step would be step beyond obvious solutions and drive innovation. So obviously, if you're trying to solve the problem of water scarcity, you shouldn't be thinking about the general ways of solving water scarcity. So let's say, like, I ask you the question, what will you do to solve water scarcity? You shouldn't be like, rainwater harvesting, terrace harvesting and all those things. I mean, that those are all already there in the world. Those are all, already being done. We don't want to think about those things. Those are already done, and that's it. Just take them out of the mind. Think about something new. So that's what Bill Gates and Melinda Gates have done in order to get clean, sanitized water from human excretion. I mean, that sounds odd, but it's one of the most breakthrough innovation which has been done in providing clean water in rural areas. So if you have the chance of watching, I mean, if you have Netflix, or if you can borrow from a friend, which I do, you should watch Inside Bill's Mind, Inside Bill Gates' Mind, right? It's a wonderful documentary where you get a perspective of how he thinks, and they in detail talk about how they came up with the solution of getting clean sanitized water from human excretion, right? It sounds odd, but it's really very effective, and it's very important for the people in the rural areas. We sitting at cities and we sitting at our houses getting clean water all throughout the day. If you're in Chennai, that's something different. Yeah, so their problems are completely different than what we face, right? They want clean water, so they'll go to any heights for they'll go to any extent to get that clean water. So that's what Bill Gates was doing. So yeah, so he thought of something else rather than rainwater harvesting or through creating canals or whatever. So he thought beyond the obvious. So that's what I mentioned here, right? So the third one would be uncovered unexpected areas of exploration. So usually, when you try to solve a problem in a particular industry, it is very important to not think about that particular industry only. Suppose if you're going to solve a problem in the food industry, you shouldn't be thinking of solutions only in the food industry. You should try to think about industries apart from the food industry as well. So suppose if you're trying to solve a problem in the food industry, you should be able to look in the healthcare industry to solve the problems in the food industry. So that's what I try to convey by uncover unexpected areas of exploration. So I'll give you a very short example for this. You guys know Ford, right? Ford Motors. So the founder of Ford Motors, Henry Ford, what he did was he visited a meat factory where he identified that the meat was being processed in a particular way, right? A meat was being hung and was made to follow a particular line where people were preparing the meat step by step. So he saw that particular process, and he tried, and he was like, "Eureka! Why can't I do it in my automobile industry?" Right? So that's what we know today as an assembly line production. right? Without that, there would be no mass production of cars. There wouldn't be cars here and there. So the idea for the automobile industry came from a food industry. So it's very important to have a different perspective, to think in different areas, not only in your particular industry, right? So yeah, that's very important to ID. Moving on, brainstorming is what I meant by getting many people involved and getting as many ideas as possible, right? So the goal of brainstorming session is to get as many ideas as possible without judgment. That is a very important thing. So that's what I meant by there's no right and wrong. So it might be a very stupid idea, but very often those stupid ideas are the ones which are going to change the world, right? So there should be no judgment whatsoever. If they come up with ideas, just write it down, put it on the floor. Just write it down on a post-it note, put it on the wall, then think about it. Okay, there is no stopping, there is no restricting them to saying what they want. So how do we do that? How do we come up with different ideas? Is something which we follow, which is known as how might we session, right? So in a brainstorming session, there are large chances that you might run out of ideas, or you might run out of the enthusiasm to come up with ideas, right? So what we do is we have a how might we session where we start asking questions. How might we solve this problem? Like how might we improve the user experience for the user? How might we make his or her life more easier? So when we start asking how might we questions, we tend to have a trigger in our mind which triggers our ideation capability to come up with more and more ideas. So this particular question plays a very important role in brainstorming and especially in ideation. Because, I mean, obviously, after a particular point of time, your brain tends to run out of ideas. So this question phrase, this question sentence often triggers that brain to come up with more and more ideas. Right? This is very important. So over here, I want to tell you the importance of divergent thinking. I will just cut it short. Divergent thinking is basically a way of thinking where you just open up your mind without no restrictions whatsoever. I know I'm using no restrictions whatsoever because that is the core capability of being innovative. You should have no restrictions in your mind, right? You should be as open as possible. You should be open to possibilities around the world, right? So, I mean, if you have the time, just go through divergent thinking articles. It will be such a helpful resource for you in order to think innovatively, right? I don't want to go and talk about divergent thinking right now. Yeah. So the next step in ideation, after we finished empathizing with the user, which we gather the information from the user, we defined a problem by using the information from the user, and while we define that problem, we start to ideate around that problem, right? So we have finished ideation. So in the ideation session, we would have come up with around hundreds and thousands of ideas. We don't want to implement all those ideas. So what we do is we try to vote for all those ideas and come up with the most voted idea for all, right? So we come up with 2-3 ideas out of all the ideas that we have accumulated in the ideation session, and we tend to develop prototypes on it. So what is a prototype? Prototype is MVP, right? MVP is what I mean by minimum viable product. So basically, in let's say that you have an idea of making a tool to make cooking easier or something. You don't have to make it as you don't have to design it in the most attractive way possible, or you don't have to make it feature intrinsic. Like this tool can then help you microwave things. It can help you fry things. It can help you make chapatis, make dosas or something like that. No, you need to focus on the core capability, core feature of that product, and create and develop only that, right? So very often us Indians, what we do is we have so many ideas, right? We don't implement them, and as you already know, ideas are nothing without implementation. So that's what prototype helps you to do. It helps you to implement those ideas and see whether that idea really works, right? So in a nutshell, prototype is getting that idea into your, out of your head into the real world by creating a prototype, right? So the prototype, you start building it. That's it. You don't think about anything else. You get those 3 ideas and you start building it as soon as possible without putting too much of time, too much of perfection or too much of design into it, right? The first prototype that you build, yeah. So if you spend too much of time in developing that prototype, making it as beautiful, as perfect as possible, if it doesn't work the way it is a waste of time, it's a waste of resource, it's a waste of money, everything, right? So you don't want that. As soon as you get an idea, you develop a prototype as soon as possible, which will solve the user's needs, and you start testing it, right? So testing is the next step in the design. That is not that useful for the user. It is going to be going. It's going to be a waste. So you don't want that, right? So spend as minimum time as possible, and try to build the product as soon as possible. Okay. And again, the very important step over here in prototype is build with the user in mind. So if you see the common theme around design thinking is that user comes everywhere, right? That's what I meant in the beginning by design thinking helps you to look at problems using the lens of the human-centered design, where a baby was holding a lens. I hope you remember that, right? So that is like the theme of design thinking. Wherever you go, whichever process you undergo, you need to have the user in mind before doing anything, right? So you should have that idea of what is the user going to gain out of this, or what is the user going to be happy about using this product, or is the user really going to use this product in the first place, right? So you should think about that and build the prototype. Only then you will have a successful prototype being done. Okay. So yeah. So this is a question for you guys. So this is a very simple prototype of a very life-changing device for many people, especially ladies. I'm giving a lot of clues here, especially ladies of rural regions, right? What do you guys think this is? Come on, shoot answers. Shriram? Yeah, if Shriram goes, then yeah, Shriram.
Actually, it is about to roll something.
Okay, that's nice. Nice identification. Anyone else other than Shriram? I'm hearing only from Shriram. Come on, guys. Suppose if I say that I'm giving I'm giving $100 or like say 2,000 rupees right now. How many would you answer? How many of you would you answer? Again, no one wants 2,000 rupees. What is this? Come on, guys. Be interactive. Gardening equipment. Okay, that sounds interesting. That can be used. I mean, it can be used. I mean, it's not the answer though. But yeah, interesting thought, Naveen. Anyone else? One more. Okay, fine. Cool. So, this prototype, does anyone want to answer? I heard something. No? Cool. Okay. So, can you guys identify what it is? Anyone? This is the answer.
Yes, sir. Carrying water in an easy way.
Exactly. So the many of us would have heard about people in Africa traveling hundreds and thousands of kilometers to get water every day, right? So mostly the ladies in the family, they are appointed. I mean, they are the ones responsible for getting water for the family every day, right? So due to this, they are prone to having back pain. They're prone to having body pain a lot because they are carrying so much of water in their hands and their heads for a long distance of time, in fact, and a lot of time, in fact, right? So what one design thinker or one designer did was that he went there, he understood their problems, and found out that many women are getting health issues because of this. Are facing really terrible health issues. We are opening a tap and water comes out, right? But it's not the case for these ladies. And in India as well, in Rajasthan and all, people have to travel a lot of has to travel far away places to get water. So while they get that water, it's often the heavy load which gets this health issues started for the women in the family, right? So what this person did was he found out that okay, so the basic problem of the whole problem was, I mean the general problem of these women were that they need to get water every day. They need to travel a long period of time, a long far away place to get water, and it is very it has health issues affecting the women, right? So what he thought was, okay, fine, if we build a tunnel from the water resource to the village, it would solve all the problems. But again, it is very cost intensive and it can't be done everywhere, right? The government is supposed to do that, but it's again difficult for the government to go to each and every village and start implementing this. So what he did was, instead of spending too much of time in building a tunnel and all, he thought, why don't we help the ladies solve the problem of easily carrying the water from faraway places to their homes. So it was a very simple prototype. This is the prototype which he has done to solve that problem. He took the water tank and made it rollable and attached a handle to it. That's it. How simple this is how simple a prototype can be. How much do you think this would cost? I mean, like 500 rupees, 400 rupees, but this prototype is solving a lot of people's problems. I mean, like thousands, you millions. We don't know how many people are using this product, which have affected their lifestyle a lot, right? This is the power of prototypes, right? It can be as simple as this. I mean, you can see a lady going with a bucket on her head, and you can see the lady rolling this one. It would be an exercise for her as well. You can think of so many things around that. But again, so yeah, where are we? Yeah, so cool. So that is how simple a prototype can be, right? You don't have to spend too much of features. You don't have to spend too much in coloring the product or making the product as beautiful as possible. Because if the product is of no use to the user, then it's a complete waste of time and resource, right? So this is a perfect example. It's called Hippo rollers, right? So it's basically like, I mean, hippos have a large water capacity, and that's why they named it as such, right? So yeah, it's a very interesting name. So hope you get the idea of how a prototype works and how it is a very important factor in a design thinking process. So the final step in a design thinking process would be testing, right? You gather information, you come up with a problem statement, you ideate based on that problem statement, and you prototype it. So once you prototype, you need to test with the user. Obviously, once you prototype, you can't say that this is the product that you're going to get. No, you need to test with the user. You need to test with the user to understand whether they are really using the problem. I mean, whether they're really using the solution, and whether the solution is really solving their problem, right? So in order to get that, you need to let the user talk to you regarding how they're using the product, or get their point of view on how the product is helping them. You shouldn't tell them that, like, you should use it like this, you should use it like this, you can use it like that, and all those things. No, you should allow the user to tell their perspective of how they're using the product, or how the product looks like to them, right? So the second thing would be asking the user to compare the particular product with the product around the world. So when they do that, you tend to identify certain requirements which they want, which are not in your product. So in the later stage, you can go back to the testing, you can go back to the prototype table, and you can start inculcating those features to make the product even more usable for the user, right? So testing is basically getting the feedback of the user after they use the prototype. Simple as that. Okay. Okay. So I want more answers from you guys on what is this? What can this be? I know it's a cute baby. Yeah. What is this device? What is this device? Come on, Sriram. You should encourage students to your friends to answer. I want more voices.
Yes, sir, because nobody is unmuting the mic.
Okay. I mean, yeah. then I would ask Ms. Carlin to cut 2 hours of attendance for everyone. So
Sure,
they're
sir,
not
I'll
answering.
do that. People kindly
Yeah,
unmute and speak. No, other
yeah,
than
great.
Sriram, we request everyone to kindly unmute and speak.
Yeah,
I think it's a measuring gauge because it contains numbers and that's it
measuring
depends to
God.
what.
Okay.
I
What?
think for an X-ray,
Sorry.
it's to take the X-ray of the baby.
Amazing, amazing. That's the right answer. That's amazing. That's amazing. What's the name? Karnika, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. Good Karnika. Good Karnika. So yeah. So apart from the cute baby, it is actually an X-ray. It's not an X-ray taking machine. They move around and they go around doing things and start crying and all those things, right? So for an X-ray, it is very important to make the user or make the patient as still as possible, right? Because you're dealing with bones and all those things. So this device was invented to make the babies stay still. But this is a perfect example of not testing the product before releasing it. So you can clearly see that the baby is not at all happy to be there. Look at its face. I mean, it's like like, Mama, please, why do you do this to me? I mean, like, why? I mean, why? Right? You're like torturing me and all those things. And if you have the chance, just go and Google PicoStat and start looking at the videos. The expression that the babies have in their faces will really make you cry. I mean, like it's not all a user friendly device. It's in fact a very user friendly device for the doctors and for the parents as well. But the end user of the product is the babies, right? So you need to consider all the stakeholders in the product before inventing the product or before designing the product. So this was a perfect example of not considering the user before building a prototype. So I mean, this is a fun example. This was not built using design thinking at all. I just came across this and found out that this was not all built for the user. That is the babies, right? So I just wanted to share this with you. Yeah. Again, we have completed all the 5 steps of design thinking process, and it is very important that you understand that design thinking is a very iterative process. It's a very iterative cycle. What do I mean by iterative cycle is that there is no like you complete all the 5 steps and you're done. Nothing. No. Once you complete the 5 steps, once you finish the test, you'll come to a result. If the result is successful, if the result is that the user loves the product and is really solving the problem, then you're done. If you're not done, then you go again to ideate, then you start ideating based on the problems that they faced after using the product. Then you come to prototype and build a prototype, then you start testing. So this process is a never-ending cycle if the user is not satisfied with the product, right? So that's why design thinking can take place in a matter of 1 week to years. Okay, so that's how intensive a design thinking process can be for you. So you should keep this in mind. It's never a one-way process. It's a two-way street, right? You need to go and come back. You need to go and come back. You need to go and come back. So it's very important that you understand that, right? So yeah. So again, what is this product? Initially I told you, right? Like I'll be giving you 2 examples of how easy a design thinking product can be and how difficult a design thinking product can be, right? So I just want to answer from you what this is. What can this be? I mean, if you read properly, if you read the contents of the box properly, then you can definitely come up with an answer. Okay. Anyone? Come on. 5 seconds. 4, 3.
Hello.
Yeah.
Is it used by asthma patients or some suffocating?
Okay, so you're telling that from the asthma inhaler, right?
Sir, sorry?
So you're telling that from the asthma inhaler, right?
Maybe not sure, but it contains
It's okay. So you think it's for
There is another answer from Mr. Naveen. He says it's a mouth cleaner.
Okay, okay, cool. I mean, it can be. I don't know. Cool. So yeah, any more answers, or shall we move on
We should move on.
to knowing what it is?
We shall move on, sir.
The next answer.
From Philip, he says it's a toothpaste.
Toothpaste. Nice. Well, we can definitely put that in the box. Okay. So I guess you're essence of the picture and trying to come up with an answer. Whereas I gave you the information of looking into the content or looking into the wordings of the product, right? If you see that the wordings of the product, I think you might come up with an answer.
Sorry to interrupt. There's another answer from Karnika. She says it's an X-ray. It can take X-rays.
Okay. Okay. Okay, fine.
Sir?
Cool. Yeah. Go ahead.
Actually, it contains omeprazole. It may be
Sorry.
omeprazole. It contains capsules.
Okay.
It is used for gastroesophageal reflex.
Okay, I guess you're going too into the product. Okay, fine, that's fine. But yeah, I'll move on to the answer.
Okay, good.
This product is known as a pill pack. Okay, it's a very interesting yet very intuitive product. Basically, what it does is it gives you your dosage of medicines. That's it. So that is the core solution that this product provides. Okay. So basically, what this product, what the problem statements of this product is that, so if you're given 2-3 tablets as a dose, you might forget to take one, right? Take the wrong dosage. You might take 2 tablets instead of 1, or 3 tablets instead of 2, right? And the second problem statement would be missing doses. So if you say that, no, like, I missed dose at around 12 o'clock or 3 o'clock, I missed the dose and all those things, that is a problem statement that this product solves. And the third problem statement is that chance of no stock of required medicines. Okay, so let's just say that you're going to a doctor, and the doctor diagnoses you and tells you that you need to take these certain medications in order to come out of that particular health ailment. So what do? So as soon as the doctor gives you the prescription for the medicines, you go to a pharmacy and you start buying medicine, right? So very often, I've come across this saying that very often I go to the pharmacy, I say that this one tablet is not available. There's a different brand of the tablet. I'll be hesitant because I'm not a doctor, right? I don't know what goes beyond the medications. I just listen to what the doctor says and just buys the medicines and have them. I don't know if the brand will affect the quality of the medicines and all those things. So what I often do is that I search different medical shops to get that particular brand. And there are many cases that there are many scenarios where I didn't get that particular brand and I left home and I went home without getting that particular tablet, right? So what happens over here is that as soon as you go to the doctor diagnoses you and doesn't give you the prescription, right? The prescription is sent directly to pill pack. Okay, so what they do is they read your prescription, they categorize your pills accordingly, they package the pills accordingly in such a way that it's easily dispensable, and each packet will have the timing, the contents of the pills, and the name of the patient especially, right? So all you have to do is you have to keep the box in a place where it is easily accessible and where it is very easily it's easily visible. And you just have to take that particular sachet out and just have the contents. You don't have to worry about what the contents in this. What the contents are, because the contents are carefully packed according to the dosages prescribed by the doctor, right? They also have an app where the patient is informed about their dosages, right? They inform, like, suppose if it's 3 o'clock, the notification comes on your mobile saying that you have to take your meds right now. So it's a complete process where it helps you take your medicines regularly without missing any doses, and you don't have to care about whether the product is in stock or whatever, because you've got 1 month stock of medicines in that particular box. So you just have to strip it out, open the sachet, have it, and drink water. That's it, right? This product might sound very simple, but the process which goes behind this product is huge. It's very intensive. You need a lot of people, and in fact, a lot of machines in order to sort these medicines carefully, right? So this product was a very successful product which was built using design thinking. And interestingly, in 2018, I guess, Amazon had bought this product for around $1 billion. Right? So a simple product, a simple, I mean, who would have thought? I mean, taking medicines and putting them into sachets and selling them. I mean, it's not that as simple, but I'm saying. So this product has been sold to Amazon for $1 billion, right? So this is a perfect example of how a simple thing, which has a very intensive back-end system, can make a difference in everyone's life. And this product is very important for old people, right? They tend to have wrong dosages in their wrong dosages, in fact, right? So yeah. So the next, I mean, this is a very simple example. What is this?
MRI scan. MRI. Sorry.
Definitely. Correct. 100%. Why is it painted so?
Sorry, sir. Can you give?
Why is it painted in such a way?
It contains some cartoon like to attract children.
Exactly. Why does it want to attract children?
Maybe they must be entertained to get into that, or
Amazing, Shriram. Amazing. I mean, that's the whole point of this product. Amazing. Good.
thank you, sir.
Yeah, good one. So basically, if you see, MRI scanning can be a very tedious process. I mean, it might sound, it might see very simple, but to be honest, I haven't gone through an MRI scan right now, touch wood. But I've heard about people saying that, like when you go into that particular machine, it's pretty intimidating, right? It's very closed and it's very constrained. And it's very, you get panic attacks and anxiety and all those things. So for adults, if that's the case, then think about the children, right? Children don't like being confined into spaces. So there was this problem that many children didn't didn't want to get into those MRI systems. And in an MRI scan, you need to be still, right? You need to just lie down still so that the MRI scan can do its job. But many children were not able to do that. So what one designer did was, as simple as that, he painted around the room, right? He painted around the MRI scan, making the MRI scan like a part of an amusement park, right? Children are very, they're very visually attracted human beings, right? So whatever they see colorful, whatever they see very interesting, they just go towards it and will do whatever that says, right? So what this designer did was, he just painted around the MRI scan and made this particular scanning an activity for them, saying that, this is a pirate adventure series. So this is the place where you go inside, and if you stay still, the pirate won't attack you. Otherwise, the pirate will attack you. So when a process is being told in a way of a story, and where the user is a kid, so this is where empathy comes into play, right? This is where you empathize with the user, who is the kid. So you look at the problem from their perspective, right? You say to them, if you go into this, and if you stay still, the pirate won't attack you. Otherwise, he'll attack you. So what gets into the kid's mind is that, okay, so we are going through an activity where if we are moving, we'll be attacked. So obviously the child won't be attacked, because it imagines in such a way that I'm really going to get attacked. So it doesn't want to move, right? So this has solved the problem of making children stay still in an MRI scan. It's a very simple problem. There's no addition of features. There's no addition of technology anywhere. It is just simple visual paint. That's it. So this is how simple design thinking can be to create a change in the daily life of human beings and animals and everyone alike, right? So I hope you get the point of how simple the design thinking process can be. It doesn't have to involve technology. It doesn't have to involve building things. You just have to craft it in a way where the user tries to, where the user is getting more satisfaction or is getting the problem solved. That's it. Okay. So yeah, yeah, it's very important to keep. I mean, we're almost near the end of the session. So I would like to say that it's very important to keep a beginner's mindset while involving in a design thinking session. So, or in other words, just behave like an infant. So if you see carefully, I would have used babies' pictures all around the presentation, right? Because when you if you're a design thinker, or if you want to be involved in design thinking process, it's very important to keep your brains or your mind in the mindset of a beginner. And who are the best beginners in the world other than babies, right? Because they're new to the world, they're new to the family, they're new to every problem that they face, right? They think in totally, they have the perfect beginner's mindset. And how do they have the perfect beginner's mindset? Because they don't judge, they question everything that they see, they are truly curious, and they find patterns among the things around them, and they really listen, right? You need to follow all these questions in order to be a baby, be an infant, or have a beginner's mindset, right? So it's very important that you follow all these to have a successful design thinking session or design thinking process while solving problems. Okay, so this is one of my favorite quotes from Steve Jobs, who's like my Guruji. I hope I would have met him in real life, but again, design is not what it looks like or feels like. Design is how it works, right? So if you see this, but again, the working of it is completely different when it is designed properly, right? It's the same thing, but when you design it in such a way where the user gets attracted to the product that you're using, it works in a totally different way, right? So Steve Jobs is like the pioneer of design in everything. I mean, his design skills are amazing, and if you're really interested in innovation and design thinking and all those things, should definitely follow Steve Jobs and start reading his biography and start watching documentaries on him, start watching the movies on him. I mean, Steve Jobs is great, man. I mean, he's just great. Okay, so yeah, if I start with Steve Jobs, I'll just keep on going. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to go into that right now. Yeah, so that's the end of it. I hope you weren't bored of my session. I hope I kept it as interactive as possible. Okay, so that's the final stage. Design thinking is a superpower, man. I mean, like it's a superpower, right? You solve problems, and while you solve problems, that is the ultimate superpower that you have, right? So, and in fact, all of us have it. We just have to train our minds accordingly and try to come up with creative solutions. So yeah, that'll be it. Thank you, and I'm open to questions right now. So yeah.
Yes, thank you, Ashwat sir. And your session was really interesting. It was power packed, and you are very energetic.
Thank you so much.
We could really see that in the session. And now, students, if you all have any questions to ask, please do ask. It can be anything. As he said earlier, design thinking, it's nothing good, nothing wrong. I mean, it can be anything. It's just that your idea you need to put in to make it work. Okay? So please come out with any questions. He'll be ready to answer. People, we request you to open up. Kindly unmute and speak.
Yeah. Yes, Shira, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I want to ask about something. The government now facing many problems, but they are not using any creative ideas from anyone, any organizations or like that. What do you think about that?
Definitely. I mean, sure. I mean, that is in fact a very good question. So, I mean, that was one of the reasons why we started Big Bang Innovation Garage. And once again, while you empathize with the government, there's a lot of things that the government is doing, right? I mean, if you take their side right now, there are a lot of problems, and the government is supposed to solve all those problems, right? But again, the government is what is government actually? It is us people, right? Us people getting together to create a governing policy, to create governing policies so that we are led in the correct way, and we are safeguarded against all the illegal malpractices in the world and all those things, right? So we often, I mean, us Indians especially, we often blame everything on the government. Okay, we blame the government that the government is not doing this, doing that, right? But it is in the interest of the people that the government is doing a lot of things, and the government can't. I mean, it should be, but again, they're doing a lot of things again, which are solving a lot of problems, and that is where right now the government is collaborating with startups and innovative companies to solve daily problems. So if you've seen the example of this one, which was that the Embrace Incubator, the government of India had subsidized the cost of that Embrace Incubator and provided them free of cost to many rural people, many rural families, right? So the government can't be expected to come up with creative solutions. Okay, so we as people have to start companies, and we as people have to come up with innovative solutions and take that to the government to and help and ask them to implement them at a large scale, right? So we have to be coming up with creative solutions. I mean, this is totally my perspective of how to do this. There might be a right answer, there might be a wrong answer, I don't know, but this is how I see it, where we help the government to come with creative solutions rather than the government coming up with everything, right? So we approach the government, and the government should then embrace our idea and try to get it into all parts of the world, all parts of the country, in fact, right? I hope this solves your question, Sriram. Did it, or yeah?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I understand your answer. What I'm looking for is there are many innovative forums going on. Innovative forums run by governments, but people we are hesitating to explore our ideas or and come out with our ideas to other persons.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what. That's why I'm asking. Without by our expectations, so many ideas are being washed out.
Exactly. I mean, you can take the example of the session part. You
Yes.
and, two others are the ones who are just trying to interact, while the others might have the answer, but they are not coming out with the answer. This should change, right? And this should be people should students in fact should come out with it, be it right or wrong. Okay? The first step of success is participation. Right? I'm damn sure this sentence many people would have said, but that is the truth, right? So the first step of success is participation. I mean, so you have to come up and participate, discuss, and then we can start implementing, right? So as you said correctly, we are hesitant. I mean, most of us are hesitant in joining this forums and all, even though there are a lot of government initiatives which help us to do that, help us to come up with innovative solutions. They give us grants, they give us funds to in fact build products and all those things. But we, the people, are not coming up with solutions and with ideas. So yeah, so that should change.
Yes, sir. Actually, my friend and all are going for science forums, and they are giving stipends, and
Okay, nice.
Actually, say about facing problems. People think about facing how to face problems with the fear inside them, and lack of ideas. Is it bad or good? You have to look forward. However the idea was, you have to try. Yeah, that's what I am trying to say.
True. I mean, that's 100% true. You have to try. Only then you will know whether you will succeed or not. And you know what? Like, I mean, I would say failure is better than success. Because once you see success, you will stop right there. But if you see failure, you will always move towards success. So, I mean, you keep on going, right? So yeah, that's rightly put, Sriram. You have to try it, and only then you can see the future.
Good. Yeah, we have to find out the problem or the reason to be for being silent and not exploring a word, just a word, not at all a word to.
That's nice.
express.
Then
Yeah.
okay, fine. I'll give you a project, a lot of project. In fact, like then empathize on why people are silent. Create a design thinking, no, go through a design thinking process on why people are silent and come up with a solution for that. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Cool, cool, cool. Anyone else? Any question?
Anybody else with a question? I think Sri Ram only will take the assignment marks, I believe, because he's been very interactive throughout the session, and the others, please a reminder for your assignment marks as well. So we want you to open up, kindly open and speak.
Yeah.
Can I say something,
Yeah.
sir?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I think friends are don't have any idea. I don't have any words to ask. What to ask? What to interact with him? I have nothing in mind. We just listen to your presentation and just to want to learn more, not to ask
Okay.
anything we don't know.
Cool, cool. No worries, no worries. I mean, it's okay. That's why I gave my email ID. So, I mean, if you have any queries in mind which you are hesitant to ask, it's completely okay. Just shoot me a mail regarding that. I'll try my best to answer that. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to ask any questions right now for the well-being of others, you can go ahead. Otherwise, I can answer.
Since your
I
first
hope I
year,
didn't
I
get
guess, yeah, they are hesitant to ask questions. And Sri Ram, that's wonderful supporting your friends even before the startup of your class.
that's nice. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I think we'll
You have
close
good
the
team.
session. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they will get in touch with you through your email. Definitely, if we have
Sure.
any questions, so we'll post into your email. So if
Yeah.
everything goes fine, and when you come down to Coimbatore, please do visit our college, and we would like to have an interactive session in
I'd
college.
love to. Definitely,
As
definitely.
we, yeah, it is always a human mentality that we always need a push and a pull. So that's what is happening right now. And you clearly deliberated on how design thinking is a problem solving technique, and it is we actually believe that it's always one's burning fire to do something will come out with an idea for creativity and innovation. Uh,
Exactly.
a person should have that intense burning fire to do something. Only then you'll come out with a lot of solutions for problems. So it's always think, rethink, and become a design thinker. And all the best to all of you. And we greatly appreciate Mr. Ashwath Subramanian for all that you are, and a wonderful journey ahead to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you all for taking part in the session and being of wonderful support. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
So thank you for so much for the opportunity. It was very good to talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll be in touch.
Sure, ma'am. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye bye.
you. Students, before we close the session, if you get your meeting code, because Madam is in a meeting right now, so if you all get the meeting code, we'll have the class by 12:30. If not, the session will be tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Ramani.